All right. All right, so good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So Sharon, I'm actually have you sit over here because I can navigate the presentation from where you're sitting. So if you want to slide over here. All right, so today we're going to talk about how engagement activities can help with like a classroom that's full of behaviors. A lot of you that co-teach or have your L classes and all that kind of stuff. This will help us kind of go through different things that we can do, different strategies, different approaches that can help minimize the behaviors and some of the distractions. So thank you for joining us today. All right, so this is in case we're going to open up with two scenarios. This will be very interactive, so you'll talk with each other. The first scenario is you have just given an independent assignment to complete, but you notice the student has not started working and typically does not finish in-class assignments. So if you take a minute and turn and talk with your neighbor or the person across from you, like what would you do? Go. Yeah. Yes, you can do it for 3, that works too.
Is it like directions or
Start. Okay. When you finish talking, you can go into the next scenario. You're in the middle of a lecture when a student interrupts you and loudly asks an off-topic question. What do you do? Does it happen? Right, it happens. So, what do you do? That's actually okay because it's just you acknowledging that you're willing to kind of take that 30-second, off-topic question and go off track for a little bit as long as you can get them back. Okay, so ways to respond, techniques that are currently being used in the classrooms, is we have to go and observe our peers. I've seen teachers that have signs on their boards indicating what the expectation is during independent work time. It could be a silent noise level or no cell phone, which we know that's a constant battle. Include visual prompts to write down assigned work. And remember that these students also need those relevant materials at home so that they can include their work. Excuse me. That was the time for us, so we need to continue. So, to promote work completion, planned ignoring, differential reinforcement, any type of incentive. A lot of them like to have lunch with us, they like to listen to their music, they like to do little things that connect with them. So if you can tie that into the last 5 minutes, or especially if you teach during that lunch period where it's such a long time of you teaching and then they break and they come back, if you can find time to give them some type of acknowledgement, and some type of support, and then also acknowledge the other students who are modeling the appropriate behavior. That's always good too. And already a lot of us are doing positive behavior phone calls, which definitely makes a difference. So you guys talked about.
Can I ask?
Yes.
I really like this, but instead of writing it all down, could you send it to us at the end?
Oh yes, most definitely. I'll share the PowerPoint with you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, so again, this is back to you all. I just want to go around and ask you individually what type of positively stated expectation you have in your classroom, and I'll share mine. So I have mine based on respect. So respect yourself, respect others' property, and then respect the teacher. I tie it all into respect because I find that's where everything starts. And if you can respect yourself and respect me and respect your peers, regardless of whether or not you like them, it just makes things a lot smoother. And I share that with the parents too. So if I do have to make a negative phone call, I let them know that, this is what I expect. I don't have a whole list of classroom rules, but I do think that respect is a positive behavior that they should show. So that's my expectation in my classroom. Ms. Williams, I'll start with you.
Oh, jeez. I'm trying to think. I don't know that I have. Yeah, know that I have any. You know what I mean?
Is
'Cause
there-
I teach juniors.
Right.
You know, so I'm all in classes are English 11. And I don't know that I have any like specific rules. I more like put up things that are due, what our agenda is, and our targets and things like that. So now I'm like, I don't actually know that I have it. Do I? I do.
We'll take a look.
I'm a bad teacher.
You do have positive inspiration though, like that picture that you have that's kind of opening up the doors into the sea and the trees and the sand, like that sets a mood. So even if it's not words, that visual is helpful. It helps me, so.
And I think verbally we teach them. So
Yes.
definitely put out the positive vibes with things like stickers and just encouragement and stickers.
Yeah, sticker power is a real thing.
She hands out some sparkles.
Yes.
So sometimes you just need anything to keep them positive. But I don't know that I have like expectations for those things.
Okay.
So in my classroom, I have some designs that we got from last year. And one is like, this door is always open, and I work with the best students. So I have those hanging around the room. And I definitely have classroom rules. My kids can use them. But instead of saying no, blah, 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 I kind of rephrase it. So I say, listening, be on time, notebook on desk. So they know what I'm looking for, but I'm not. And then I just point to the rules if it's not, please follow.
I don't think I have this. I don't know, I'm thinking about it. I think I just verbally tell them. But I think I should do that because I have freshmen and they need that.
Yeah.
So, I have like in our classroom, like I have it. It's like, we like respect each other, we try our best, we do, but I never reference it. I should. So I don't think I actually do that.
A lot of times the things that we find ourselves repeating the most are typically the things that we should post. So,
Yeah.
if you think about it like that.
Like, it's okay not to know, but it's not okay not to try. And
Right.
I feel like I should do that. So, I think I have to post it.
That's all right. Next.
I knew I had it on the slide, but I was trying to pull it up because I realized I never say, like, since the first time I told them, I never said it. And I remember one of them was be respectful.
Okay.
And one was, here it is.
Yep.
Be respectful, be honest, and then, like, advocate for yourself. Like,
Yeah,
like,
that's
ask for
huge.
help.
Yes, be respectful, be honest, and self-advocate. That's even what we have like for IEP goals, is the student self-advocating. So that's huge. That's a good one. Ms. Joyner.
Well, I have signs as well. That treat those the way you want to be treated. I always find myself reminding them to listen to what a person is saying before just coming out with a response, because usually they're thinking about what they want to say versus actually listening to what's being said. And the self-advocacy part. If you need help, don't just sit there, raise your hand, come over, let someone know. And then for rewards, some of my students need that consistent, positive reinforcement. So I have like a token system that I use, so they know what to expect, know when they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, called reward. And then if I notice they're off task, I will remove versus me having to say no, stop, those type of things.
So yes, they require a lot of direction and a lot of support. So we had to include some school data to kind of give you guys an idea. Attendance is huge. They've been on us about attendance, sending reports, following up, making the teacher contact an SMS. And so for the average daily attendance rate, the percentage of students who were chronically absent, which is 10 days or more, like Mr. Greenville had said before, it was actually at 49% during the 2016-2017 school year. So a lot of this data comes off the school improvement plan, which Mr. Matheson provided to me, and he said we're all supposed to get a copy. So if you're ever interested, I can send that along too. And then SPED, we actually get a separate report. And this report is the data analysis and reporting tool. So it tracks all external factors. How many classes have they failed? How many SOLs? How many discipline referrals, OSS? All types of things, even down to, like it says at the bottom, the GPA. So I took the top 10 students from each list because they had the highest external factors, And across grades 9 through 12, these 40 students average failing 2 courses, missing 23 days of school, receiving 6 disciplinary referrals, averaging on the reading SOL a 354, the writing SOL a 342, and the math SOL a 350. And the average GPA across these same 40 students is a 1.16. So when we think about the work that we're giving in our L classes, and our SPED classes, our co-taught classes, our self-contained, we have to be mindful of these things, and this is the type of stuff that we talk about with Ms. Sullivan when we have our PGP meetings, how we're taking this data and using it to help the students when they're here. Because this speaks to a lot of the issues and the troubles that they face, and this does not include homebound students. So these are students that are supposed to be coming here every day, getting access to their education and access to us and interacting with their peers and taking advantage of all these opportunities and experiences, but these are the roadblocks and the obstacles. So it paints a different picture when you look at it from their perspective and everything that they're not achieving and historically have not achieved. So now we're going to get into the strategies and get y'all moving and grooving. And these are some things that you can do just outside of like a worksheet or outside of maybe what you might typically do and what you typically may find that they're not as interested in, or they do it just to get it done. Okay, so we'll go through interest cards, a theme investigation, a concept exploration, an online task with insert learning and refine, and then an accountable talk and walk, which you'll hopefully enjoy at the end. So, on the front of your note card, the note card that you picked up, on the front, the line side, you're going to write your name and your interest in the topic as it relates to social media, your experience with social media, and your connection. So with your students, you want them to write briefly about how they're involved with their interests and how it relates to the subject. Now you want to use this particularly with a topic or a subject that you might think is going to be boring, or maybe that you think is going to be overloading or overwhelming for them, because we're going to break it down into chunks starting with their interests, and then we'll go into themes and definitions, and it's all pulled from the same article, which you'll see later. So once you record your interest, okay, there's 2 ways to kind of do it. You can collect the cards and have them form student groups of similar interests, or you can provide them chart paper and give them time to develop a mini presentation based on their collective interests. So I'll give you about 2 minutes to go ahead and fill out your interest card.
So this is our interest.
Yes, to the right. Yep. Your name, your interest. Yes. Yep. Yes, you're experiencing it from the student point of view, and then up here is displayed as far as the teacher directions that accompany it. And social media, I chose that topic because of its relevance to our students and their addiction and both their positive and negative behaviors associated with social media. So all the things are tied into social media today.
So our interest in social media?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So if you have social media, I do not. I've been on social media for 3 years, and I'm definitely behind. There's a lot of things that I miss because I don't have social media, but my interest in it particularly is, if I'm sharing, how my players use it. Because I know that if they want to play college basketball, college coaches look at Instagram, Snapchat, they look at Facebook, although Facebook is not as popular for their age group anymore. And then my experience with it just recently, I don't know if you guys know of the new thing, it's called Finsta, or a spam account. It's a fake Instagram. So now they have 2 Instagrams. They have one with their regular things that they can post, and then their Finsta is whenever they want to throw shade or send subliminal messages or post things that they don't want their followers to see. And in our particular incident, we had a student post on his Finsta him egging another student's house who happened to be one of my basketball players. And that's when I learned about Finsta, fake Instagram. So that's my experience and my connection to this topic, is that I actually had to deal with the issue this school year with the egging and the posting and the video recording. And yeah, it was all on Snapchat, and it's just like, oh my goodness. And you're driving around breaking the law. They're only supposed to have how many kids in the car? They had 6. They're supposed to have like 1. So social media is definitely impacting their lives. So when you finish with your interest card, what you want to do is, there's a dot on the back of it. So whatever color you have, you want to find the person that shares the same color, and you just want to talk about with that person what your interests are, and just share with them based on whatever dot. It should be blue, orange, or I think yellow, orange or yellow,
We have purple.
or purple, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
They're writing us specific topics that they're interested in within that, or?
within it, yes. So a lot of them might immediately, Snapchat is really popular, so they might be like, oh, I have a Snapchat account. I post my streaks daily. I have 40,000 or 400 streaks. So they're trying to put their experience and their connection with it.
Personal link at work.
And this is something that you can collect at the end of the day. You have what color? Don't worry, you can just jump in. You just jump in with them because there was a sixth person, but she just dropped out. So.
And then my connection to it is that the first time I told students on Snapchat when I was teaching. It's super weird. Yeah. Which is like that's amazing. So that was my little connection with it. That they were like, I could like see them. Like that's super weird. So that's what I'm working at it.
Okay. So I use social media, but the only thing is Facebook. I have Instagram, I have Snapchat, but I didn't start with technology and all. So like I didn't start a lot of creativity. So I feel like I can just the technology my experience.
Yeah.
And then my connection is.
So how are you connected to social media? What do you feel is like the thing that you use the most for, or
It connects me to my I see all their
maybe
videos.
you don't use a particular one because for whatever reason, like for me, I'm not about to be Snapchat and bikini, I'm not quite there yet. So I would not have a strong connection, but I will maybe look at Twitter and the reviews or something. So
Yeah, I've never heard. Yeah, I mean, I like Facebook too, but, and I mean, I check it, but I think it's more my interest like as it relates to students because they're so addicted to it and they have to be I don't know, eventually I have one class in particular, like not enough. And I mean, I try to positive rewards. I have a rules program daily, which I didn't want to try for a long time. But I was like, well, I'll just try it. And they just loved it.
There's an excellent personal problem. You can't do that.
I like the kids to show. My kids are kind of scared.
You just bring it in and they turn it upside down in the corner there. I want to break the little one piece or look at it.
I feel like my kids are not my kids, so she has things like responses. I feel like I should be all the time. Sorry.
no, I'm listening. I'm listening. I have a charging station in this wood, and I also have one, but it gets to the point where some of them just need it, and we're just like, okay, just flip it over.
Yeah.
Like if you're at least gonna have it on your desk, flip it over.
That's what I like people were saying with the envelopes because they can't see the screen or anything. It's like going on, but then they can still have it on their desk. So
Right.
they like can't be away from it because it's
It's so weird.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's super weird.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, and if you want, I made like way too many, so I can make it.
That would be awesome.
So in a larger group, with your interest cards, you can go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Okay.
Can I go back?
If you know how. There you go. I'll just talk with y'all. So like with the interest cards in a bigger group, you can collect them. Or if you're down with organized chaos, you can ask them to walk the room and find someone that has a similar interest. Now you might end up with one large group of Snapchat and one small group of Instagram, or a few people that don't have it at all, but it gives them an opportunity to kind of investigate each other's interests without you necessarily telling them. Or like I did with the dot, you can kind of get the colorful stickers or take a Sharpie and make a little dot on there or a shape. That way they have to find that person or that group of people and talk about it and figure it out. Because it could be that all the interests are not similar, but typically there's some underlying foundation that can be connected. So,
I teach level 1, so if I was in level 1, I would probably just do either experience or
connection. Right, that's
I
another
would
one.
shorten it down a little bit, so they could just, or even like a little bit, like interest, social media. I like blank because,
Yes.
and then they can
You could definitely have sentence stems with it for sure. We use it a lot in English 11. Miss Wood is always putting like a stem, and they're like, still writing only the blank. I'm like, no, you're supposed to copy the whole sentence, you know, not just write the blank. So they do need that, and sometimes it seems like elementary, but it's applicable throughout all years of learning. So. As they finish up, I'll hop to the next one. So you can have a look at it. So for the next one, you'll actually flip to the back because that will be your definition or the keyword that you're going to define. So a concept exploration is just you kind of looking at whatever text or literature you're about to go through and pulling out some of those big scary words that might be like, oh my goodness, like they're not going to know how to read it or they're not going to know what it means, and putting it on like a note card or a postcard and inviting them to develop their own meaning of that definition. So I think you all have culturally responsive teaching, and then you all have social emotional learning. So what I'll do is I'll give you guys a sheet of paper, and then you need to develop your own definition of that phrase.
What's like an anchor term?
Sorry?
It's like an anchor term.
I'm not sure. It could be. I just got it out of one of my books, so I'm borrowing an idea.
All works.
Yeah. So you want to allow them to give their own definition because a lot of times they're a lot closer than what we think, and then compare it with their group and their other classmates. And a lot of times they have similar interests that they can connect to the meaning of that phrase. So for you all, culturally responsive teaching, your teachers, so how are you culturally responsive? And then you two over here have social emotional learning. Ms. Joyner deals with the autism, IDE students, so that ties in. You're a co-teacher, you've been a teacher, you know what it's like, so you can kind of tie in your personal meaning and definition to the actual phrase. And then some variations to this, you can have them draw a picture. You can give them chart paper and have them make a skit. You can do different things if they're not the best writers, or if writing would be too much for them. So. Yeah, just write in what you think the definition is of social emotional learning and culturally responsive teaching.
Based on past experience. Responding to students. They don't know. To students, reaction, or based on their past experience.
So, this is an activity that I did last year in geometry, and it helped the students create their word wall. So, if it was an accurate definition, because there's so many terms in geometry, then I ended up putting it up and posting it around the room, and it kind of held them accountable because they were part of creating something that was a reference tool for them. So for this group, cultural responsive teaching, responding to students' reactions based on past experiences, making real life relevant connections to student lives, and aware of diversity among students, very good. And then social emotional learning, being accepting of others' differences, being aware of others' moods, and also one's responses to those. So those are both good as well. There's normally a lot of different like words and terms that the students have to remember, and it's all throughout all subjects, so it's helpful to kind of break it down in certain ways where they don't have to define like 20, but they can divide and conquer. And again, if you use that chart paper and you sprinkle around a few different terms, once they're posted around the room, if they do need to copy them down, they can just look around the room or walk around the room and get what they need. So, kind of has a little bit of personalization. All right. The next one is the theme investigation. So each student receives a card with a different teacher selected excerpt, and it's from a text that the class will be reading. So later on, it's like about 10-15 minutes, you all will actually go through a short article. But before that, I picked out certain parts of the article that were relevant to your, and helpful to your understanding. This will help if they need, again, to walk the room and talk and interact with different classmates, and as they share and look at the cards, they can kind of form groups and put ideas together. So again, this is kind of speaking in terms of a larger setting, but for today, what I'll do is, I'll give you all, you two will get 3 excerpts to determine what's some themes that you can come up with that, and then you all will get 4. So I'll give you 1, I'll give you 2, and I'll give you 1. But y'all are still working together in a group, and in about 2 to 3 minutes, I'll ask you what are some themes that, you know, kind of sparked your thought process. Yes, you're trying to determine what the text is about and what are some things that could be the same. You don't have to have pieces of it, but you have to kind of think of what are some things that could come from the entire article just based off short little parts of it. Right. So they came up with the theme of technology, and what about you all?
You were saying technology is also, this one, right, it is not intellect level, different aspects of technology, depends on your home, and all those differences impacts basically everything.
Yep. Yep, so technology, differences, the impact, balance, that's another one that can come from it, and it will all kind of make more sense later, but when you give students bits and pieces to kind of connect on their own, they can fill the gaps as you continue throughout your lecture and you actually give them the article and they see like, oh, this is what it looks like, this is where that fit in. So some tips, like when the class is finished, you can bring them together to make 3 predictions about the text, which is what you were doing while you were trying to determine what are some things that are connected to your short parts of the literature, and then use different colors to help, again, help inform groups. So if you know that it's going to be a lengthy article or a lengthy read or something that might need to be chunked out, you can put it in groups and then make them all come together and discuss what the themes were and what the different meanings were based on the passage. All right, now you're going to log into your computer, and for this you are going to join the classroom that I have in there. It's called Activities PD. The code is posted, And then we're gonna actually work with 2 extensions. Ms. Fielding sent an email like in the last few weeks about Refine Learning and Insert Learning. Has anybody in here worked with Refine? Okay, so when we get to that point, I will explain what Refine is and how it can really be helpful. Thank you. That's all right. Does everybody in here use Google Classroom? Well, except Ms. Joyner, because I know it's not appropriate for your group. But the other 4 of you use Google Classroom? There's like a random teacher or 2 that will do Microsoft or what do you use? Okay, so as a yeah. So you're in the same boat as Ms. Joyner, where you guys work with 2 different student populations and kind of have to accommodate accordingly. So Google Classroom is not always best for everybody. I don't use it as much, but I'm learning as well how to navigate it. Yep, so you're gonna click on, and then you're like joining from the student perspective, and the teacher side actually looks very similar. So you're gonna click the addition button, and then join class, and type in all lowercase.
Are we doing?
The one to the left, the Google Class code starts with 3. Well, I have Ms. Alonzo go in and be like my test student to make sure that technology would work in my favor today. So she was thankful, Thursday come by, I was thankful for her help. All right, so when you get in and you click on the assignment, okay, it's gonna prompt you to add Insert Learning and Refine. 2 things are gonna happen. Insert Learning allows you to go in and embed questions into any article that's relevant to your topic. So pretty much if you have access to the news, which we all do, and you got an article relevant to your subject area, which is possible for everybody, you can actually go in and embed questions along the way. Refine takes all the ads away. So when it prompts you to add Refine and it prompts you to do Insert Learning, you want to add both extensions, and then it will take you right to the assignment. So most of you are in different places, so I'll kind of walk around. Ms. Smith, you're almost there.
I did it.
Yep, and then you have to, yeah, so you're gonna have to toggle back and forth. It'll add it, and then you'll have to go back and click it, and then we'll add it again, and you will go back. Your class code for Insert Learning is to the right of the screen. So you wanna add Refine. And so the way it works for the students is, those of you that use the laptop parts, this is why it's recommended to assign them a number, because the laptop number, once they add it to their Chrome, it will be there continuously. So if you're someone that uses technology a lot, you're gonna wanna make sure that they have that.
So
Yep.
what's it?
You're just gonna click back to where the class is,
Okay,
and then click on the article again.
and it will.
Did you add an Insert Learning? That's okay. It's 2 extensions. So when Ms. Wood and I did it the first time, we had them add the extensions first, but we realized some of them kind of missed the mark on adding it. And when I went back, I saw that you can actually put it into Google Classroom, and then it will prompt them to do it.
It's like, it's here.
Yep, there you go. Yep, added it. If you are able to say if you already did, so then ask
I thought I did that.
Oh, you did? Okay, all right, so if you did, it's okay. When you go back,
I added one thing.
oh, you added Refine. Okay, so then it should come up. There it is. Oh, click on it, just click on it better.
We need it.
It's right up there to the right. Oh, it was about to load for you. Go ahead and sign in with your Google. Yep, that's you. Yeah, no worries. And then there you go. There goes your class.
I did that one.
Oh, let me see. There you go. Now you should be able to get it.
Okay.
So there are approximately 4 questions embedded. Now you can skim, you can, read as thoroughly as you would like. And I put in 4 different types of questions, so that hopefully you can kind of see the different ways you can connect it. There's one that is multiple choice, there's one where there's a tad bit of math involved, there's one where you have to kind of use the evidence from the text to support what you're saying. But if you notice, the ads are gone, or they should be. So the ads that's popping up like, oh, buy this coat, buy these shoes, you know, the celebrity ads, the media, the clothing ads, all of that is gone. So it's not there to distract from the learning, and they can focus on the text. And like it says, help your students focus on the text, not the clutter.
We like assign something similar to this, and the students would answer.
Yes.
And as a teacher, we would get
Yes,
those.
yes. So all the responses are collected and populated just like they are if you do anything to Google. And so you can go back in and look and give a grade accordingly. Now, what Ms. Wood shared with me was that Google doesn't allow, if you do standards-based, it doesn't allow you to exactly align what you're supposed to do for standards-based, but you can still go in and see it and award like one of the letter grades according to Google, but on your own standards, make notations in your grade book. So you just kind of have to work with it according to whatever it is you're looking for. When we did this activity with the students, what happens is we actually did it with 2 class periods, and so when you assign it to 2 class periods, they can actually scroll down and see the other responses. So a drop-down window will appear below to say, for instance, if I had more than just a few of you in here and I did another session, and both sessions were under this same insert learning article, you will be able to see what some of your other colleagues had said in reference to answering the question. So for one, you can see if they're just copying and pasting, and 2, it kind of will help jog their memory or encourage them to kind of see what their classmates wrote and what they can come up with on their own. A little bit. I didn't know if I might have a math person in here or not, so. You can use calculator for the last question. One of the questions is just about the graph, so when you get to that, you don't have to necessarily read everything that's in there, but Common Sense does produce a lot of articles related to things that our students are facing every day, so it's nice to kind of read the articles and see what's going on.
Oh my gosh, I have to tell you guys something, it's so crazy.
Yes, please
So,
share.
my little brother is 23,
Okay.
and so, you know, he's like dating.
Yeah.
And he says that he likes dating older women because girls his age and younger don't like to be approached directly at the bar. They like you to like their Instagram or their, and like contact them through Instagram rather than actually talk to them in the bar. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, the face-to-face is down, way
And
down.
it's insane.
That's crazy.
Would never thought of that.
Oh, so then I mark this almost done.
Yep, then you mark it's done, and then you go back and mark it's done in the Google Classroom as well. So this is a way for you to assess student learning. You can pull so many things from this. If a target that you have is reading graphs, then perhaps if it was a graph that had an independent and dependent variable, you could ask for that specifically. Yes, you can highlight. You can leave comments. So, for example, if I wanted you to write down a word that I thought might give us some difficulty later, I could make a comment within the text and encourage you to write that down so we can come back to it later.
And videos.
Yes, you can add videos, you can do all types of things. So, it actually worked really well with our co-talk class, which is filled with all types of people. So,
What is the shared classroom from here? What is that?
So that actually is what I can see when I'm doing it.
Oh, okay.
So I guess it would be you sharing your response to the class and still kind of learning about it. But I know that when you submit it, it will show, you know, like your response.
Over here on the Google Classroom.
Yep, if you want to submit in both places. Mark it submit and then mark it done. I'll do this.
So what do you see on your side that looks like a? Oh,
Yeah, that's where I'm
oh,
going.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
If they wanted to do this on their phone, would they do it on the?
Yeah, so that's the one thing.
Okay.
Each time you have to install it and install it.
Gotcha.
And that's why I was saying earlier, when you get the laptop cards, like everybody's encouraged to assign that the one number based on the card. So every time they get number one, laptop number one on cards 1 through 6 or 8 through E, and the first thing they have to do is attach these extensions, Refine and Insert Learning. And then every time you get that card, they don't have to do it, it'll already be there. And you'd be surprised, some of the ads, like as soon as they look, whether subconsciously or actually knowing that they're doing it, they're detracting from their learning. Like they're not connecting with the content at that point. So when I go in, I click on the responses, I can see in, for the first question, in 2 to 3 sentences, describe how your students use social media platforms. Ms. Smith said, my students use Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. They are, in general, just glued to their phone. Ms. Lazo said, my students love posting pictures on Snapchat and Instagram, even though I don't allow it. I find they post pictures of themselves in my classroom and on school grounds regularly. Ms. Williams, my students report using mostly Snapchat. Okay, so if I want to go and score it, okay, and 10 points is just the generic points that Insert Learning starts at. So then you can score it accordingly. You know, I get a 10, a 10, a 10. Let's say Ms. Lazo is just not doing anything, and let's just say Ms. Snowden is absent or something. I'm just going to give her a good old placeholder 50, right? Then I can go and continue on. So down the line, it will show you all the responses. You can score it, and this is kind of where it gets to what you're looking for, because all of you all have different point systems or percentage systems, or you do standards based. So however you want to record it and make it look in your grade book is your freedom to do so. But this just gives them an opportunity to almost have like a mini discussion board post where they're kind of reading what others are saying and posting and continuing to read the article and so forth. And it can be as short or as long as you want. Insert Learning actually has an article base for you to research from, or like I did, I found one on Common Sense and I inserted it into the Insert Learning format.
Did you show us how you did it? How you did it?
Yep. So I will just Google search Insert Learning. When I click on it, it takes you to, like, it says add to Chrome, it's free, and I already did that, so I'll log in. I'm already signed in, and so let's just say I want to do new lesson, and I want to do a search. I can search, let's say social media. Okay, I type in, I enter social media, I'll just take this one, censorship on social media. NPR is a reputable source, so I'll take it. And then censorship, and it's also relevant. Look, this was written August 11th, 2018, so it's timely. You can choose a template, but I didn't really play around with that. I just dismissed it, and then I kind of went through. As I was reading, I chose, okay, well, maybe I want to insert a question here. So I click on the question, I click where I want to put it. This says something about hate speech, so, and they have sentence stems too. So I could say, paraphrase the previous sentence. The previous sentence is, you know, CEO Jack Dorsey said that Alex Jones' site had not violated rules which prohibit direct threats of violence and some forms of hate speech. So I would ask them to paraphrase what they got from that sentence, and then it continues. Something that I was working with earlier was trying to figure out with the highlighting, if it carried over, but I saw that it didn't. So it could be that that's just more specific for the student, or maybe there's something else that I kind of need to play with more. Yeah, a tool for them. A sticky note, you know, type something else. This is where you can embed your YouTube links or your videos, more options. They have assign a student, share with teachers, and everything like that. So it's actually really quick to do. Especially like say you have a sub, this is a good like activity that you know if you have the laptop cart, they can log into Google Classroom, they have Insert Learning already as an extension on Chrome, grab the laptops, this is what we're doing. And then that can kind of segue into whatever else activities you might have planned, but at least it gives them some downtime with the laptop, and then the sub is in like a crazy kind of frantic situation, they can be doing this while the sub is figuring something out.
How do you share it? Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good, you're good. So then, so let's just say that I'm done with that. All right, so I'm gonna assign. I'll click the IL, and then I will click which one I want to assign it to. So let's just say I'll click the same one that you're already in. I'll go assign, and then when I go back, it has not come over yet, so let's see. Let me go back here and see if I click it or not.
Oh, yes, I follow that.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And then share to these classes. So it says done, so let's see if I refresh if it popped up here. There it is, so censorship on social media. And then you click and so forth, it will continue on. Yeah, so it's not too bad. Not too bad, I like it.
That's kind of like close reading.
Yes, definitely.
Sorry.
No, you're all right. So this is actually something that I plan to use more. This was actually the second time that I went through with it, so thank you for your patience. But we didn't have any issues, especially like in our co-talk class, our 7th period. They are very active and energetic human beings. And they need no harm.
Interruption. The food truck is on its way. They have a weather delay. We will send out an email and announcement when they arrive. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Right? It's crazy. The weather's pretty bad. I guess the rain was bad, but it was sunny in here. No, you're okay. I like to go off topic. So, but we noticed like the students, and then if you, I mean, there's so many extensions. The students constantly sending us extensions. So there's even an audio one. So if they add the audio, they plug in their headphones, and then boom, they're right there. No ads, no struggles with reading. You know, they can listen to it and they can respond accordingly. And then say you don't have the best typers, or you know, you let them know ahead of time. I may not grade you on the grammar, more so on the content of what you're saying, so that they're not hesitant to make sure everything is perfect. You know, it all depends on what you're grading and what you're looking for. But Refine, I really like a lot. Like that's awesome. So now the last thing is the accountable talk and walk. So it's kind of like forming a soul train line. So you're gonna stand up and push your chairs in, and you're gonna stand where you're at. You don't have to move. All right. So then the sign-in sheet just now becomes my checklist. So I'll like play a song. I picked Earth, Wind, and Fire. Felt like that might be appropriate. Okay, and then you can have students ahead of time, like maybe during week 1, if you did like a getting to know you and they shared their favorite song. My recommendation is to play an edited version of their musical interest. You know, it could perhaps be appropriate. Sometimes even when it's edited, it's still not appropriate, but hey, whatever. So, like, you play a song, and then like I would have, the two of you can do it together because they can be partners. So I would pose the question to the both of you, and I might say, how is social media impacting your life? And you would answer the question and just say what?
You can be posting daily.
Yep, okay, posting daily and?
I see what my friends are doing all the time.
Okay, and then you just dance down the line.
Oh.
Come on down. So the answer to the question correctly, I'm just making a note, like Miss Smith, cool, got you. All right, and the next two. Okay, I might say, tell me one positive effect of social media.
Being connected with your family.
Yep.
Being informed about things that are going on in the world.
All right, let's groove. Come on down. And they can walk. They don't have to dance. Like, tell them. And Ms. Joyner. Tell me one negative effect of social media.
People bragging or, you said one thing, or bullying.
Yeah, cyberbullying, using hate speech. Now, come on down. Right? Okay, and then you can go sit back down. So that's kind of like a little way to kind of tie in what they like to listen to as far as their music, because you'll see some of the dances that are out, like, they really want a place to do this stuff. And they have all types of dances, none that I can do, but, everything that's interested in them is based on social media, music, and their peers. So that's one way to check it off. So there's many possibilities through positivity. It's all about building and maintaining relationships. We can't say that enough. We talk so much about it. Remember to be consistent, transparent, offer incentives when you can. I know it's looked at as bribery, but they really do like chocolate, candy, sweets, and like bathroom tickets. Ms. Williams uses bathroom tickets. They get 3 1/4, and then if they turn in 2, they get a 2-point bump on their grade. So things like that, whether it's something that they can actually eat or something that they can actually, benefit from down the line when their grade is kind of teetering between that F and D or that C and D, that will be helpful. Using the parents, especially with understanding feedback. Depending on how you grade, a lot of the kids now, they're like, especially the freshmen, they don't understand how 6 grades can come from one test, or 10 grades, or what does a check mean, or a check plus. So when they go home and have that conversation with their parents, you're really important about closing that gap and making sure everyone involved understands. A peer mentor, that's something that you can find in the classroom. I have a few. Definitely call the parent and let them know that this is kind of what's going on, because they never want their kids singled out. But a lot of times there's kids in class that want to be a mentor to somebody else. So give them that opportunity. Something that we do with the basketball team, every Wednesday we have a mindset meeting. We talk about all types of things. We talk about issues that are going on. Like last week I talked about what happened with Pittsburgh and what type of hate, fuels those type of actions and where it comes from. So being open and vulnerable to talk about all those kinds of things. I noticed that the mindset meetings allow us to kind of step away from what's going on with academics and, or if you do one-on-one conferences and really address like what's going on here. Let's get to the bottom of the problem. So those are just some things. All right, and then another little turn and talk moment about what our school motto means. It takes a village. So in tying all these things together with activities that we can use and positivity and stating our expectations, what does it takes a village mean to you all? You can kind of talk as a group. You don't have to really talk with your neighbor.
I think as a staff, we need to kind of all be on this mindset, like we're here to support you, we're here to do this, like be patient with us, we're still learning too. We just want you to do your best. We're trying to think of fun ways that you want from the school. It's going to be fun and people are going to support you.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Let the kids know that I'm a human being too.
Yep.
And maybe I'm gonna forget something, so I'm gonna say, you know what, go ahead and email me to remind me.
Yeah.
My kids know they can email me and I'm not gonna be like, I'm a teacher. Because I am not gonna be perfect human being.
Right.
So hopefully they know that it's not be perfect either. And
Right.
I am super friendly.
I'm almost done.
Oh, okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Yep, no problem. So some things to remember, like some takeaways. We're supposed to say students are not bad. Instead, students engage in behaviors that are inappropriate or problematic for a given context or culture, which most of the time is our classroom or the hallways. Students engage in behaviors that they think work for them, and it's all based on how they're influenced by their peers and social media and everything that they see going on in the news, and their home life too. So you can anticipate when there might be problems, let students know what you expect, and take the time to practice routines. Model what is expected, even through your activities. Reinforce what is expected by using specific praise or an acknowledgement strategy, and draw little attention to misbehavior. A lot of times, like we as sped teachers collect a lot of data, but you also can have like a little plus minus chart or just a little tally to remind yourself like, okay, well, it took this many times before you actually got it to work out. And you'll see like 6 tally marks. So that's another kind of little helpful tip. And yeah, that's it. So thank you all for coming out today. Appreciate it. You can sign out and then don't worry about your stations. I'll clean up everything. All right, thank you.